Hello and welcome to the morning show, teeing off with RevSportz. A very good morning to all of you present. And today is the big day at South Africa, Newlands, big final. Australia and South Africa. Are we looking for an upset? And to discuss, we have Trisha Ghoshal and Devashish Sani.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Rohan.
Trisha. Good morning, Devashish.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's the
You,
Josh?
I think
With
it's
India
high.
winning, the Josh is high.
Actually, it's a bit of a tricky because we think Australia to win, but we have an inner feelings and a gut feelings that South Africa might cause an upset. What do you think,
I think
Trisha?
more than gut feeling, it is something we want
Yes.
because enough of Australia. I think um, the
I
one
think Australia should think this also. अरे बहुत जीत लिया एक बार हार के देखते हैं कैसे लगता है.
Meg Lanning has said in her press conference that she's really excited for the final because she never knows when the next one comes. Apparently, she hasn't had enough of World Cup finals. I think that's the attitude, and that attitude is a problem. As long as South Africa, doesn't become happy with the fact that they have qualified for the finals, I do think they will give Australia a run for the money. Just that Australia is too strong a side, Rohan. If X doesn't
But
get you, then Y will.
India have shown that Australia are not uh, inevitable. But yes, we have failed in the
Absolutely.
last part. But they were in trouble with India. What do you think, Devashish?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a contest between the Australian batters and the South African fast bowlers. South African bowlers in a whole. Because and look at that Australian batting. Obviously, right from the start, Alisa Haley to Ellis Perry, means they have and obviously they bat deep down the order. But then having said that, South Africa will have their tails up and having won against England that crucial match, and that extra motivation of the fans means it will be a sold out with ICC releasing 3,000 extra tickets for the
Extra
finals.
tickets, yeah.
A cracker of an atmosphere, and 90% of the fans will be rooting for the South African because it's a huge occasion. First, it's a first time that a senior team, irrespective of men's and women's, are making it to the final of a World Cup. So that will be an extra motivation, and that motivation to do something means obviously it will be a huge fillip for the sport, women's sport in South Africa. So these are two big motivations for the South African team.
Absolutely, and we love to see the underdogs win. And to just think, if India would have gone to the final with Australia and England out, South Africa and India are playing the finals. What a big message that would have been for the sport. Like, your time is over. Now we are here. Your thoughts, Trisha?
Absolutely. I think, I have replayed this scenario in my head so many times that now it seems like it has already happened. If visualization was, you could turn visualization into reality, then I can see Harmanpreet with the cup, but that has not happened eventually. Having said that, I think, the important part, I repeat, of the India match is we have proved that Australians are not invincible. They have
Yeah.
weaknesses too. And I think South Africa and South African coach, all of them will sit down and, try to work on those weaknesses. Sorry.
You have talked about the coach, and you have been a coach yourselves. If you were the coach of South Africa today, your game plan, what would that be?
I think when as Debashi said, I rightly agree with him. I think the first or the main thing would be to have the South African bowlers bowl at proper channels. For example, Aliza Healy has a weakness towards in swingers, especially in the initial part of her innings. So I would obviously want to start with Ayabonga Khaka and Shabnim Ismail, or even Marizane Cap and Shabnim Ismail, and try to get her out early. And as soon as someone like a Meg Lanning comes, I would get in Enkolago Laba, Devashish's favorite bowler, because Lanning has a huge weakness against left arm off spinners. What I'm
Yeah.
basically the point that I'm trying to make is I will be making matchups,
Yeah.
Because remember, against us, as in against India, Meg Lanning would have been out pretty early. We dropped her catch. So we have seen that weakness can be, every weakness that we didn't take advantage of, I would make sure that South Africa does. And the other part,
Yeah,
I think, what you were saying uh, just before we started, that what should we do at the toss? I think my discussion would be, it's a big final, right?
yeah.
I would say go for a chase, because Australians can actually throw you out of the game if you go for chase. But having said that, because this is first final for South Africa and their bowlers probably are a little more experienced, with the Marizanne playing for God knows how many years, Shabnim Ismail same, I would say go for a chase and go for a
I think there's some problem with Trisha's net. Devashish, coming to you. Thoughts on the toss? If South Africa wins today in the toss, what should they do?
Yeah, I to some extent agree with Trisha, because nothing much you can do with toss, with either batting first or batting second, because Australia are too strong a side as far as batting is concerned. Means if they bat first, obviously, they can bat out you out of the final. Means if they can post a total in excess of 170 plus, it will be huge pressure on South Africa, because every day you cannot expect Tajmin Brits or a Laura Woolbart or uh, um, other South African batters to chase. I think the key will be to play as a unit, as was the case in the semi-final. Means that will be key for
Yeah,
South Africa, because I'm sure that must be the talking point. Because see, individual brilliance may win you matches once or twice, but it's the team. It will be a team effort, like as was the case in
absolutely.
the semi-final against England, because everyone contributed. The openers, that 96 runs partnership, then that
Yeah.
middle over, that Shabnim Ibn spell, the Ayobanga Khoka 3 wickets. It was a collective effort. So that is what is needed.
Exactly.
And
And
for
absolutely.
Australia, obviously Australia, they had the worst game in the semi-final against India. Now that they are in the final, it is very tough, because the
they will rise to
Australian.
Because
the
they know
occasion.
how
I
to win.
absolutely agree with Devashish. They will rise to the occasion, and
Yeah.
honestly, no offense meant, but they'll be playing like wolves. They will be coming
Absolutely,
after Australia.
absolutely,
Sorry,
absolutely,
South Africa. And
Yeah.
all that South Africa needs to remember is it's a 20-over game, Rohan. You don't need everybody to score 50s.
Yeah.
You know the match winning knock. Yes, I agree. Brits and Woolward were fantastic, but the match winning knock has to be Marizanne. They're 13
absolutely.
ball
That cut
27.
27 runs. Yes,
And South Africa just needs to do that. They have to remember they need, probably 2, 3 people standing up and getting 20 or 25 odd of 12 balls changes the whole equation. And their openers
I
can
think,
take time and they can keep their. I think also one part will be, Rohan, not to forget their strategies and get too overwhelmed, because it's the final. They shouldn't get too desperate.
yeah. And Australia knows how to tackle these situations. They have been to so many finals, won 5 times, and it will be a first time for South Africa. So that's the mindset that they need to show. And talking about the law of average, as we say, South Africa were defeated by Australia. Do you think that will be an advantage for South Africa in the law of average? What do you think?
Against Australia, no law of averages work. I think Australia has a separate law of average than us mere mortals. So no, I don't think so. Honestly, it's not about law of averages working all the time. It's just that, uh, lo- in fact, the scarier part is the law of average meant Australia will have one bad game. They have had it against India.
Oh
Now
yeah,
I think, yeah, now it's just tougher because Australians are professionals. They know we are playing
yeah,
the final means we have to win it. That's it. And they're going to come hard. They're going to come with their plans. I was told once, Debashish, by I don't remember whether it was Liza Stalekar or Julian Goswami. One of them had told me that Australians basically have a book on you, on every player, literally a book,
oh
where it's
wow,
written If Debashish is looking lost, then his batting form is like this. If Debashish is doing this, then this. So they have all the notes ready. So they know exactly how a player is feeling. They know exactly what a player's mindset is on that particular day, because they have that reference. That is
It
how much in details they, literally read about it or read your game. So they
it
would know
reminds me
us.
of,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, go on, go on.
Yeah, so basically they would know exactly how a Marizane Cap is worried, or exactly how much someone like a Sunelu, because remember, it's tough for Sunelu. The whole thing has been tough on Sunelu anyway. How she is feeling as a captain, whether she's unsure. At the toss, they will check the attitude, everything. They read your body language, they read your mind, and then they read your game. So there's a lot more professionalism, lot more to Australia's cricket than just go out there and play. You know, that's where Australia
Absolutely.
does better than most of the teams.
And this kind of outside the field works. This shows why teams are champions. Like I can tell you that Emi Martinez, the hero for Argentina in the Copa Americas, in the World Cup, the penalties shootouts he saved, the penalties he saved, he had notes of which player shoots which side. So that's the uh, work that goes behind the ground. And Devashish, coming to you,
See,
how
the
important will be the whole?
important
Yeah,
thing, Rohan, for a good successful side is to know what your role is exactly. Is clarity of roles. Means
yeah,
for you see on bigger teams, everyone has a clarity of role. What their role is, what they need to do. So until and unless you have a clarity of role, you have the stability as far as the team selection is concerned. That okay, even if you fail, you are going to be persisted with that transparency in selection. So these are minor things. It might not be, but it plays a huge part in a team being successful, and that is what is all about this Australian team, because they have been dominating world cricket. They have the clarity of roles. Each and every player. Yes, Trisha is saying something. So
No, no,
this is very
I will
important.
add to what Devashish is saying. That's why I said, yeah, you
Yeah.
continue, please continue.
Yeah, so I think Australia are overwhelmingly favorites, even though South Africa will be playing at their own backyard. But uh, the the sheer fact that they have won World Cups, they are five-time World Cup champions. So that habit of winning means it transpires into the body language of every player, and that is what
winning is a habit, as you said.
yeah, winning is a habit,
Winning,
as they say.
losing, both are habits, actually. You know what, Rohan? I absolutely
Mm.
agree with Devashish. Australians are clear about their job role to the extent that they're predictable. If you remember, when we were watching the match together, India versus
Yeah,
Australia, Boria, me, both of us were continuously. And why am I saying Boria, me? Because we follow women's cricket a little more than the rest of you guys. But
yeah,
both of
yeah,
us said the 19th over will go to Jess Jonathan, because
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
knew it will go to Jess Jonathan. And think of it, if we were that sure, Jess Jonathan knows that she will bowl the 19th over, and she's getting prepared that way. That 19th over, I have to bowl a certain way. Because if one day you're bowling the 16th over and the other day 19th over, the situations become completely opposite.
Exactly.
That is where their predictability, in a sense, I would say, you can say that, you know what, if you remember, I said they will open the bowling with Ash Gardner, because it's not out of the box thinking for them. There are certain points, they will follow that point to the extent that the opponent will know that this is what is coming. The opponents are not surprised. But you know where they're the best? You know what is coming your way, and yet you don't know how to handle it. You
Exactly.
haven't figured out a way how to handle it. That's the point. You always know that if you're hitting around Ellis Perry, she's going to give her 400%, but you just don't know how much she's going to save, where all she will end up reaching. So that's what I'm saying. You always know what they're going to do. Their two batters are Muni, Healy. Healy is not that strong
That's
against
what
in
make the
swingers.
difference, no? That's what make the difference with the greats.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
you know that Lionel Messi will be playing with the left foot, but you can't stop him.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
exactly my point. The point is, you know what they will do. But the fight
Yeah,
is not knowing what they will do. The fight begins to stop them from doing what they are good at.
exactly.
And that's where South Africa has to be. I would say South Africa should just go and enjoy the game and not overthink, you know. Because Australians, as Devashish rightly said, they're overwhelmingly favorites. Just go out there and enjoy yourself, you know. Because
Absolutely.
you never know. I will quote Meg Lanning in this. You never know when you're going to get a next World Cup final.
Absolutely. And Devashish, coming to you, you have covered men's cricket more than anyone in the country, I think. But
No,
you
no,
have
no, no,
been
no.
to, but that's what we
Devashish
are
is a
saying.
legend when it comes to covering men's cricket, you know.
Now, you have seen lots of uh, pre-match day scenes where uh, the fans are queuing up for the tickets. How often do you see a sold-out match for a women's game? I will come to Trisha, but Devashish, you first.
No, no, the
It will be a
biggest example is 2020 Trisha MCG. It
Absolutely.
can't be bigger than
yeah,
that. And it's a pity that the final is being played at New Zealand, Newlands. It's got
yeah,
20,000 odds, 16,000 plus 3,000, 20,000 odds space capacity. Talk about that MCG final between India and Australia means
Oh,
90,000 fans. Can you expect?
yeah.
No,
We,
no
we
sport
were
can be
seeing
bigger
that
than that. That was a record. So
obviously. Yeah,
and
maybe
but
that's
maybe
it
that's
so.
what
showed.
that's what
Yeah, yeah,
happens,
go.
Devashish, right? When the hometown is playing, sorry, home
Yeah,
team is playing the final, you know,
Yeah.
the entire country wants to back them. The entire
Had
country
it
wants
had
to
it
exactly.
watch.
had it been India versus South Africa, then it would have been 75-25 because there are lot many Indians that stay in South Africa. They would have traveled to Cape Town to watch the match, but I'm not too sure how many Australians. Yeah, there will be numbers, but not as much as the Indians would have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Absolutely, absolutely.
lot
Also,
many
you
Indians
know,
stay.
Rohan, somewhere it also happens. You know, if it was India, South Africa, it will be a little bit of a um,
Yes.
50-50
Even even
encounter. With
even even
Australia,
even
South Africa,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more of,
In-
you know, as a South African fan, yes, you're going to cheer your team, you're going to back your team, but you still somewhere know deep down that you might not
Yeah.
win, you know.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And
Exactly.
Indian fans are crazy. You play in Iceland also, you will find Indian fans over there.
Oh, absolutely. We are everywhere. We are everywhere.
Trisha, coming to you on the home advantage that South Africa will get. You have said that they know, but what is the mindset of the players?
um I don't know what they are feeling, but if I was there, I would feel lovely, you know. Especially South African women's cricket doesn't always get that much support. Now that
Yeah,
they're in the final, we saw, you know, we have done a story where all the tickets are sold out. And, you know, every South African player, if you see, they have tweeted saying, you know, wow, this is fantastic. So they will feel like, you know, they will be more charged up because you
absolutely.
want to do well for your fans who are coming to back you up. And especially when you
And
don't get too many people backing you up, you feel like
exactly.
you don't want to let them down, you know.
And we have a
I think
strong message from a fan also. Will uh, if you
please
allow,
do.
we can play it.
Of
Can we
course, we
please
have
have
a
the
few
clip?
fan questions also, Rohan, if we can take it after, you know.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Can we please have the clip? I think there is some technical issue, but why don't you go ahead with the questions?
Yes, let's go ahead with the question. Akash Yadav has said, Trisha ma'am, Harry's run out will be repeating in our memories before we win. We have won our World Cup. Well, Devashish, we have spoken so much about it. I think from one, see, for me as a women's cricket fan, from one run out to another run out, the 2017 run out of Mithali Raj to 2023 run out of Harmanpreet, I think we are just, I don't I have no words. I mean, yes, we will be speaking about the run out, but I think it's time also we get over it. It was a game, we lost it.
You got the ticket for the final?
Probably
Final, I got everything, my bro.
We were standing in the queue since 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
From how long this queue is there?
6 o'clock in the
From
morning.
6 o'clock is now is 11 o'clock.
Then breakfast also, my bro.
So now you are going to witness South Africa against
Of
Australia.
course.
Can South Africa defeat
And
it?
South Africa
South
gonna
Africa.
win tomorrow.
South Africa is going to win tomorrow.
First time in the history they're
It's a
gonna
big,
win
big
the World
player.
Cup.
Epi de Villiers, Dickon, Kasim Amlai, Jack Kalis didn't do nothing.
They
But
couldn't
woman
do it.
power. Woman power now.
Women power.
gonna win.
Yeah, the Ismail gonna win this.
Ismail, I'm so proud of your bowling. Inshallah, you're gonna do better tomorrow. And we're gonna win.
Thank you so much.
There was a technical
Wow.
issue as well. Yeah, there was a technical issue as I hear from our producer that it was played earlier, but it lagged. But what a message from the fan that we
You know
had
what I
the
love?
good news.
You know what I love? When he said the greats like AB de Villiers, Herschel Gibbs, etc., couldn't do it, but women power. This
Exactly.
final means that much. You know what Debashish was saying this last day when we were watching the match? That, you know, I remember when I went and said, yes, I want South Africa to win, but I think England will win. Debashish was like, you are a very confusing character, but we should support South Africa because it will bring a revolution. That sentence
Absolutely.
is what Debashish was talking about. That, you know, the way
Absolutely.
people are saying, you know, someone like ABD has never qualified for a World Cup final, and you cannot say that ABD is nothing less than a great.
Absolutely.
But the Shabnam Ismails, the Marisane Caps, the Sune Lu, they have done it.
And the fans are excited about it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you were continuing, you can continue with the answer that we were talking to Akash Yadav.
Yeah, I was saying I can see a lot of, you know, Akash Yadav upset about India not winning. But all that I'm
Yeah.
saying is, you know, I might sound a little weird when I say this, but the truth is it's a game. Yes, it's sad and it hurts and all that, but let's move on. I think we have discussed enough.
Yeah.
We probably can have a new world champion. Let's take it positively that if South Africa can defeat England, South Africa can defeat Australia. If that happens, then India someday will definitely do that. And especially with the WPL coming up, I think super exciting times coming up in Indian women's cricket.
Absolutely, and we'll have lots in store for the final. We'll have Shubhan Chakraborty from joining us from South Africa, 5 p.m. Indian time. Do watch. And Debashish, coming to you. Yesterday, you were at Delhi Capitals training. You met Saurav Ganguly over there. Can you bring us some stories from there?
No, Delhi Capitals, they have their preparatory camp,
Not
and
even.
their final camp will be from the 15th. So
Yeah.
it's just they are just having a look at some of the players they were on trials because the Rishabh Pant is out
Yeah.
and he won't be playing in the IPL. So they are looking for some wicket-keeper options. Obviously, they
we saw
called
Abhishek Porel.
Abhishek Porel and also Sheldon Jackson.
Yeah.
And there's another guy from Karnataka who was playing big hits. So their final camp, the replacement for Rishabh will be decided in next couple of days, as Saurabh said. After the practice session, he met a few scribes. There were a handful, 3-4 of us. So he told us that they would be taking a decision about the replacement of Rishabh in couple of days' time. With Sheldon Jackson, I think he is slightly favorite because he is experienced, but then he was spending a lot of time with Abhishek Porel. So I won't be surprised if Abhishek Porel is groomed and taken as a replacement for Rishabh. But as far as Delhi Capitals, they look a very, very strong side with the likes of Prithvi Shaw and Sarfaraz and Manish Pandey also joining them. Ishant brings in a lot of experience. And you have under 19 cricketers and Vicky Otswal, so all rounder. So they look a very decent side, and the main camp will start from 15th of March this month.
Okay. And what did Dada say about the Indian women's team?
Yeah, obviously he felt that the Indian women's team had taken giant leap. Means ever since he took over as the BCCI president, he has seen Indian women cricketers doing doing great, and it also does well for every one of us, because we would love to see our women's cricketers also do well. And I would put it that, as Boriada time and again says, that it's an Indian team, not a women's team or a men's team. It's an Indian
Absolutely.
team that does well, and he's very happy. But it's he reckons that it's time that India will cross the bridge one day, because and that time is not too far away. With the WPL coming, the youngster will get in a lot of experience. They will rub shoulders with the great players. So it's time that we start getting in that winning mentality, and it will come soon. It's not too far that India will start winning big tournaments. Rohan.
Rohan,
Yeah.
if you look at every single WPL franchisee, you will see they either have an Australian head coach or an English player as their head coach. You know why? Because Australia and England have won trophies, which means they know how to win. I think it's a great step forward to have people, because cricket technicalities, everything will be worked on, but also
Yeah.
the mentality needs to be worked on. It is about crossing that end line, and we only have England and Australian players to look up to. And if you have them interacting, you will know how exactly they, probably what are your rituals when you are playing a knockout match, and what an Australian is doing. Like
Ah,
Rudransh said, that whenever I'm worried, I just, I just think of the movie that I'm going to watch.
Yes.
exactly.
To each his or her own, but you have to work that out. I feel those are the areas where we are missing. Skill is not really where I would say that we are distinctly apart. Yes, I know the fielding, we didn't field well and all that, but that's okay. That can be worked on. But what needs to be worked on absolutely
It's a
from right
winning
now is the
mentality.
mentality. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about winning and losing before on the Kolkata Derby. Devashish will be happy. But before that, we have a small clip from Saurabh Ganguly from yesterday's session. Can we please have that?
Also talking about the performance of women's team in the World Cup. It's so close yet so far.
Yeah,
Almost dominated.
they've improved immensely. What I saw 3 years ago when I first became president, and to see them play now is amazing improvement.
But do you see a lack of killer instinct? Obviously, the X Factor 2007, 2017 we lost.
No, I think
and
they
then
they don't cross the bridge. So hopefully they will do it.
what do they need to do? That obviously talking about the men's team, also the women's team now. They've been losing the big stages. But what is that one thing that is missing with this Indian team?
I don't know. They'll get past. I'm sure they'll win. They got very close to Australia twice. Commonwealth final, the semi-final.
Yes.
I'm sure they'll get past them.
What is the lack of killer instinct? Would you say?
No. I think they have Harmanpreet's run out. He played so well. If he had stayed for another 5 overs, we would have won. Not even 5, another 3 overs.
So Dada is positive, and we know India will get over it. And
When
coming,
Devashish asked him about the men's team also not crossing the line, did you see that smirk on his face? Like, yeah, they will cross.
and Dada is positive. You know.
He's an amazing man. He is, honestly, Rohan, he is a leader to look up to. Always.
Absolutely.
Always. Can you see the faith with which he said that, we are not
Yeah,
crossing the bridge? We will cross the
we will.
bridge.
Yeah. We will. Yeah. And he has shown the world that Indians can do that also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Devashish, your smile says, go on. The Derby win 8 on 8.
He jinxed it yesterday. Yesterday, he was jinxing it. All right. In our office group, let me tell our viewers, he was continuously saying East Bengal will win this time. East Bengal will win this time. He was jinxing it.
Yeah. This Murman team is too strong, and I am.
ATK Mohan Bagan.
Yeah, this ATK Mohun Bagan team is too strong, but we have some positives from East Bengal also. Clayton Silva played with this team. East Bengal finishing 10th. Clayton Silva is the is in run for the Golden Boot. So he has been exceptionally good. And the one positive that I will take from this season is Bengal are retaining the head coach. There was a habit
What
of
are you saying?
repla- they were replacing the head coaches every year and year, but they are retaining the services of Stephen Constantine for the next year, and that is a very good sign for his Bengal team down the line. Devashish, before we end, some comments on the derby from you, from the winning side.
It's a no-brainer. Means ATK Mohun Bagan are a strong side. Means and because see Ismail have always had that catching to do when it comes to other teams, because
Absolutely.
with the club management and the sponsorships and the play, because most of the teams had already signed the big main players, the key players. So East Bengal
Yeah,
will always have to do the catching up. So that is where it is lacking. Maybe I would have, as you said, that it's good that East Bengal are returning Stephen Constantine. So you need
yeah,
that stability. It's for all sports, not only football. It's for
yeah,
all sports.
absolutely.
You need to have that stability. You need to have that continuity. Means you give them a long rope. Means say at least 2 seasons before you judge or before you make a statement or before you sack anyone. At least 2 seasons, because Stephen has only taken this team for the first season. So you need another season. If I'm not wrong,
Yeah,
is it his first season? Stephen's first
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
first.
You need to give him another season. As far as
And not
more
only
ATK
Steven, they are retaining services of Naudan Mahesh, who has played well, Clayton
Oh,
Silva, who has played well. So they are
that's a
trying to
positive.
retain the core team, basically.
That's the positive. That's the positive. But as far as
Yeah.
Mohun Bagan, it has given birth to two top players in Slavko and Petrotos, because see this derby gave rise to the star players. And with Roy Krishna not in the helm, you needed someone to boost the morale. So, for instance, you said Clayton Silva for his Bengal. So for Mohun
Yeah,
Bagan, these two players, um, they were the real stars in the derby last night. So for East Bengal, they have a lot of planning to do, and it's good that they have written the core group. But having said that, see, you also need more East Bengal to win, because it's not
absolutely.
that
So
eight,
It's good for
nothing,
the
Derby is,
nothing.
football.
8 out of 8. It's obviously it's not even contest. Let me put it straight away. It's not
it
even
Absolutely.
is
contest
the
because
it is the mood actually.
yeah, see, gone were the days when I League derbies used to happen. It was even Stevens.
Yeah,
You see that competition, you could see that fight. So that would make more interesting, and you could see the fans also coming in numbers. Full house at Salt Lake Stadium, but that was not the case. Means it was one of those derbies where you can hardly find that excitement, because first East Bengal were almost, when they were almost 10th, and Mohun Bagan has already qualified for the playoffs. So
excellent.
not much to
Excellent.
offer for the fans, but still, if I'm not wrong, as many as 60,000 people stand up, and that's huge numbers.
Yeah, 60,000 was the official attendance, but mostly were Mohun Bagan fans. East Bengal fans did not turn
Yeah,
up. Turn up that.
understandable.
I don't think East Bengal has given East Bengal fans reasons to turn up, to be very honest. The
Yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah. Go
Also,
on.
there were other issues. I agree with you.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
just completely agreeing to Debashish's point, Rohan, all the world over in team sport, the most successful teams have been the teams that have a stable core, a
exactly.
core which has been playing for a long time. If you see South Africa, for example, yes, a Mignon Dupri is missing, a Van Niekerk is missing. But a Marizani Cap, Shabnim Ismail, Aibonga Kaka, Sunelu,
Yeah,
Enkolabulanga, all of them have been playing for a long, long time together. For you to reach the top, you need your core to be settled. With East Bengal, I'm
absolutely.
sorry, but it has more of been you put together a team and just throw them and ask them to play football.
No,
I'm
no, no.
sure
Yeah,
all
that
the
has
football
been for
players
the
know
last
how to
three,
play
4 years.
football,
Yeah,
but you're never going to win that way.
but if they keep on the core team this time,
You
probably
will
the
only
next
see
season.
improvement. Honestly,
Yeah,
Rohan,
yeah,
if that they can do that, you will only see East Bengal doing better from 10 to maybe 9.
absolutely,
You can't
absolutely,
expect from 10 to suddenly go
Yeah,
to number 4. But yes, 10 to 9, 9 to 7, you can of course go up.
absolutely. And yesterday we had another derby in the Madrid derby, where Real Madrid and Atletico had the game 1-1, and we have today Barcelona playing against Almeria and Tottenham versus Chelsea, and we will be back for the live show from our studio for the Women's T20 final, and Shubhan Chakraborty will be joining us, and we have the Rudra Patil interview coming up. Thank you, Devashish and Trisha, for joining, and all our viewers. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see you in the studio in the evening. Thank you.
Yes, we'll have a blast.
Absolutely.
Full-
Thank you so
Full
much.
house there, full house in office also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you,
Thank
Trisha.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.